Michael, the President of the United States says there is no chaos in the White House, but I think perception is important, and perception is certainly important for market participants. At this point, even if John Kelly restores some order to the White House, at least optically, I do wonder where the agreement within the White House comes for something like tax policy. Who has the ear of the President of the United States on the best direction to go with tax policy? When you listen to the Bannons of this world compared to, say, the Cohns of this world, it's quite a different vision.
It is, but it really seems like the sort of the big six, as it's being called, the six principals who are working on tax reform seem to more or less be driving the policy here, and that's Cohn and Mnuchin in the White House, Brady and Ryan in the House, and then McConnell and Hatch in the Senate. If that group comes to a substantial agreement, not just on principle, but in detail, that'll tell you a lot that they're going to be able to execute along the timeline that we think is possible, which is getting this done somewhere around the spring of 2018. And we haven't seen signs that they deviated from that path. Certainly, if healthcare had kind of dragged into the fall, then risks would be the long side of that timing. But if those six principals can agree, have the kind of cohesive policy leadership that was lacking in healthcare reform, we think that's going to be a good sign.
Omair, give us a sense from your point of view of what's at stake. I mean, you look at the economy overall, and if you look at the delta on either getting some form of tax reform through or not, how much of a difference could it make, in your estimation, in GDP growth?
Well, I think it would probably add about a half a percentage point in each of the next 2 years in terms of the impact on growth. I think it would be certainly a boon to consumers as well as corporations who are waiting for some sort of clarity. We've heard a lot from the Fed, for example, out of how we had Fisher talking yesterday, talking about how investment has been held back, partly because of the fact that we don't have a lot of clarity here.
So Michael, he says that it could make half a point of difference. As you looked at those points coming out of the group of six, or the big six, did you take solace in that? Did you say, yes, they're moving in a direction, I can see a path forward now that maybe they can get this done in the not too far distant future?
A little bit. It was good news that they agreed to get rid of the border tax just purely from political disagreement reasons, but there's still some major unresolved issues like deductibility of state and local government taxes, which is likely to be an issue with blue state Republicans. And on top of that, I think that statement, it talked a lot about tax permanence, and we know there isn't really a credible bipartisan path. That to us means they really have to push the reconciliation process, really limits the potential for fiscal stimulus. So we're a lot more conservative on what we think actually comes out of this. I actually think there's not a meaningful fiscal stimulus on the back end of this, even though there's probably some long-term benefits to this getting done.